looks like we may have lost some of our our audio and video. Ain't that something? So just give us a second here as we try to figure this out. So give us 1 second here as we work through this, the magic of technology. All right, there we go. So hopefully we are back live here. Hopefully you guys can see me. If you can see me, let me hear something in the chat. All right. Can you see me? Hello. All right, so hopefully I am back and live here. I hope you guys can hear me. Sorry, we had some difficulties there. I think we had the internet go out or something happened here in the local building. So hopefully I'm back here on live. Let's see here. Let's try to confirm if we guys can hear me. And let's go. Let's check this out. Let's make sure we're good here. All right, it looks like we're good here. All right. So anyway, as I was saying, what was I saying? All right, so sorry about those technical difficulties. It looks like we're back live. So hopefully you guys can, were able to get back in the room. All right, so as I was saying, we was talking about butters. So mango, we talked about a little bit about shea butter and kupuasu butter, but another great option is dry butters. So these butters are butters that seep better into the skin. Kupuasu would be considered a dry butter, but also mango butter. Mango butter would be considered a dry butter because it goes on really smooth, but it dries up really quickly. So you really want to stay from butters that are really like thick and heavy and take a long time to absorb the skin. You want to use stuff that is nothing like that. All right. Oh, I just wanted to make sure that we was good here. It looks like we're having, y'all, this is like we having more difficulties than I don't know what. So I deeply apologize for that. I deeply apologize for that. All right, there we go. So kubuasu butter, mango butter, those are all really, really, really good if you have oily skin. Now, additional, if you have oily skin, there's one more thing that you really need to make sure that you're doing, and that's properly washing your beard. Just applying beard oil and using lighter butters and lighter ingredients and oils will help, but you always have to make sure that you're washing. And you need to wash a little bit more frequently than maybe the next person do. On average, most bearded men may wash about once a week, maybe twice. Some may even wash more depending on if they're working like in construction sites or being outside a lot, working out a lot. They may be washing their beard a whole lot more. For oily skinned men, I recommend that you wash a little bit more frequently than the next. So I'm talking about maybe instead of once to twice a week, up to maybe 3, maybe even 4 times a week. The reason is because you need to be washing a little bit more because your body's excreting oils more frequently, and then when you're doing the daily habit of adding beard butters and oils to the skin, it's not making that situation any better. So in your case, you need to be washing a little bit more. Now, when I mean by oily skin, I'm also make sure that that all of your skin is oily, not just specific parts. Naturally, with oily skin people, you'll see like your brow, or if you have combination skin, your skin will be oily around here, but the rest of your skin may be fine. You want to make sure that when we're talking about having oily skin with beards, we're talking about the skin under your neck. I'm not under your neck, but the skin around your neck is oily and your cheeks are oily. That's where I really want to pay attention to. If your cheeks and your neck is not necessarily always oily, then you can do things as a regular person does. But if you are oily on your cheeks and your neck, what you want to focus on, like I said, is that you want to wash more frequently. And that means upping it from maybe once or twice a week like a normal person would do to more like 3 to 4 times a week. If you find that washing 3 to 4 times a week is a little bit more stripping to your beard, I do have some recommendations for that. I have been telling a lot of people, and you may not be aware of this, that using facial washes that are sensitive facial washes may be good for your hair. A lot of times sensitive face washes are designed without oils and without really stripping ingredients, and they'll work perfect to get the oil out without necessarily super stripping your beard. So try that and alternate between that and see if that's a solution for you. If your beard, if your beard wash is not very strippy like our beard wash, the Smart Beard Wash, then feel free to use that a little bit more frequently than normal. So again, having oily skin it's very important to be very diligent about your grooming regimen. You need to go a little bit above and beyond than the next person and avoid certain ingredients. You want to avoid those heavy oils like shea butter, coconut butter, and switch to butters that are a little bit more drying, like mango butter or kubuatsu butter. All you have to do is look on the back of the ingredients of your beard products, or, like I said, you can use Smart Beard's products, as our oils and balms are formulated for both oily skin and natural, or I should say normal skin. If you don't know if you have oily skin or not, again, some of the things you want to do is do the test. Wash your face, sit down for a few minutes, and then swipe the brow, the nose bridge, your cheeks, and under your neck. And if you have residue, this is after your skin is completely dry, if you have residue, then you know you may have oily skin. You can always use one of these oil skin analyzation machines that you can get on Amazon for like $15-20. Measure your cheeks and under your neck, and round out your water numbers and your oil numbers. If your oils numbers are above 40, then you know that you probably have oily skin. If your water number is under 20, then you know you probably have dry skin. And it's not uncommon for you to have oily and dry skin all at the same time. And if you're washing more, avoiding those heavy butters, and like I said, if you use one of these machines, or even better yet, see your esthetician or your dermatologist to see if you have dry skin, using all the tips that we have shared is going to make for better grooming. You need to be careful also too about when you're looking on YouTube and when you're looking at blogs for beard advice, because a lot of times that beard advice is more specific to normal skin guys than it is for oily. Grapeseed oil is really good for men with oily skin because it seeps right in. Rosehip oil, jojoba, argan oil, all those oils are going to be really, really good for oily skin. And if you are concerned about making sure that your beard grow and have a fuller beard, then I recommend that you use our Smart Beard oil, because we're going to have a lot of ingredients in here that is great for oily skin. But in addition, it's formulated in a way to make sure that it's in harmony with your body's testosterone so that your beard can grow more. So now that we talked about that a little bit, let's kind of dig into some other topics. Let's talk about mask wearing or masking. Well, I got masking wearing with beards. Let me fix that right quick. Boom, 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 boom. Boom, there we go. Mask wearing with beards. Now, wearing a beard, or I should say wearing a mask with a beard, is a much more difficult task because instead of the mask sitting right on top of your beard or right on top of your skin and creating that nice, great seal on it, you got all this hair in the way. And so how are you gonna get that mask to make sure that it's sealing all the way when you got all that hair? Well, I have some great recommendations. I'm gonna grab my mask right over here. Grab my mask here. I'm gonna show you how to easily apply your beard and apply your mask that's gonna allow you to make sure that you're being good and safe, all right? So, here I have a coveted, now I say coveted because these brocos are really super expensive now, and they're hard to find if you're not a healthcare worker. These are N95 masks, and N95 masks are what the CDC is really recommending for people, really more so for healthcare workers, but N95 is really like the most potent mask that you could wear, all right? But one thing about that only makes a mask effective is if it's really truly sealing the skin. I'm gonna put this on, and as you can see, the mask, when I put it on my beard or on my face, the beard is kind of obstructing the seal near the bottom. So if I take a big breath, I can actually feel the air coming through my beard and actually under the crevices where the hair is blocking the mask from creating that tight seal. Now, what can you do to make sure that you have a much more tighter seal around your beard? Well, first is you want to comb your beard down, all right? I don't have my comb with me, but if you have your brush or comb, you want to comb your beard down. Now, if you have more of a goatee type beard like I do right here, where I don't have a full, where my hair goes all the way up to my mouth, it goes more around my chin. What I do is I will lay the bottom part of the beard around the area of the skin where the goatee area is of my beard. So I'm gonna lay that right on top, all right? Now, when I take a big breath, I definitely feel less air coming in from where the mask is being obstructed by my beard hairs. However, it's not 100% of a tight fit. As you know, you always need to do the nose bridge right here, but it's not necessarily 100% tight fit right there. So how can I go and make sure that I'm protecting myself is double masking. Here I have a 3-ply mask. I actually got this as a giveaway when I got COVID testing. And what I like about this mask is that it has these elastic bands, but more importantly, it has kind of like these locking mechanisms that let you adjust so you can get a much tighter fit. So what I typically do is after I make sure that I have the mask sitting right around the goatee area or right above the skin where the goatee is, like this, I take an extra precaution and put on this mask here. Oops, I have it on backwards. Oh, not good. All right. Okay, so I have this here. Now, when I am putting on this particular secondary mask, what I want to do is I want to bring the mask a little bit further down where my beard hair is, and then kind of tuck my beard into it, then bring it back up, okay? Now what this does is that it kind of encapsulizes your beard into the mask, but also it acts as a secondary filter so that if any of your beard is obstructing the bottom part, this mask is filtering the air before it gets to my main mask, right? Without it, if I took a big breath, I can feel air coming in towards the bottom where my hair is. But when I put this mask over my N95 mask, this top layer mask is filtering that air, so when I breathe in, it's breathing in filtered air. Now this particular mask also has these locks and loops on it. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull these down like this, and this is gonna allow me to make my front mask a lot more tight. And now I have a super, super tight fit. I mean, I can really feel it. And if you can see here, the majority of my hair is actually in this particular mask. Now, N95 masks are really big, so it kind of looks kind of crazy here. Amazon and other places like Etsy sells these types of masks, but a little bit bigger. And I would recommend that you get a bigger one so that if you have a big beard or a medium-sized beard like I do, you can make sure you tuck everything under. Now, when I take a big breath, the cool air that I used to feel is now no more. This mask is actually, because it's tighter, is actually holding the N95 mask a little bit more closer to my skin, and is actually helping to avoid that air seeping in through the cracks that my hair is creating. In addition, now I have this mask that's kind of doing a double filter, so just in case air is coming through, this mask is doing the filtering. Now this may look ridiculous, and this may look a lot, but I will tell you, as someone who has had family members affected by COVID, sometimes you need to go the extra mile to make sure that you are being safe. No beard, no matter how good it looks and how sexy you built it out, is worth you losing your life. And I don't recommend that you cut your beard off, but I do recommend that you make sure that you are purchasing and getting access to masks that's really going to work for you and your beard. And sometimes using a secondary mask is really the only way to make sure and to eliminate any leakages that are created by your hairs obstructing the seal in any mask that you wear. Now, this is an N95 mask. A lot of us do not have access to N95 masks. A lot of us are mostly using KN95 masks, which you can get on Amazon, or you are using cloth masks, like something like this, where you're just using this all by itself. Now, me personally, I'm a little bit more cautious and a little bit more concerned about safety than maybe, let's say, the next person is. So without a doubt, if I am only using a cloth mask, I will double up on a cloth mask. And what I would do is, if it's not big enough to swoop under my beard and create a cup-like area, we'll actually use a secondary mask to make sure that is accomplished. The problem is your beard doesn't help to create a tight seal. So you got to do a little bit extra. So again, you want to use your mask. This is an N95, and I'm gonna tell you where I got these N95. I got these from Costco, and my partner got them from Costco, and they're about, these were expensive. So you had to buy it in a pack of 100, and I think this came out to like $300 or $400. So these are expensive. It may be too rich for many people's blood, but if it's not, go ahead and get it. It's a great thing, and use a secondary mask to make sure that you are preventing any leakages because of the hair obstructing the seal. So yeah, this is really, really good stuff, and I hope that you follow it. You know what's crazy is a lot of times I share a lot of beard tips for men, or a lot of safety tips for bearded men when it comes to wearing masks, but you'd be so surprised. I have gotten like so much negative comments from guys who still don't believe in wearing masks, and people who just be like, forget masks, if I'm gonna get COVID, I'm gonna get it. Listen, everyone has a right to do what they're gonna do, but the problem is that most of us are not alone on an island. We interact with our family members, we interact with our friends at some point. For some of us, we are going into work as we are essential workers, and even if you're not doing any of those things, you're still doing daily tasks like going to the supermarket, or going to pay your bills, or having to go to Home Depot when something's wrong with your house, and you're exposing people potentially to COVID, especially if you are asymptomatic and you're not correctly wearing a beard, not correctly wearing your mask for a beard, and putting everybody in danger. It is, I will say this to you as a personal story. My father was infected with COVID within less than 30 days ago, and he nearly lost his life. And I did not, none of my immediate family gave him COVID, but it was an extended family member who gave it. And going through the experience of having someone nearly die from COVID is very gut-wrenching, because you're not in control. You can't, even if you took them to the hospital, you can't sit there at the hospital and watch what the doctors are doing. So it's a scary experience. And I've said this multiple times before, you do not want to be on the other side of COVID, because it is 2 weeks, the 2 weeks from when you get tested to when you're technically cleared. Those are 2 weeks that are excruciating. And those 2 weeks can go much longer, because a lot of people deal with COVID symptoms well after they are cleared from having the disease, or the virus, I should say. So be safe, double up on your mask, and make sure that that your hairs aren't creating any gaps. And if you're not sure if your hair is creating gaps, once you put it in, put your mask on, take a big breath. If you feel air coming in, use a secondary mask that will tighten and make sure that that seal is nice and tight. So there you go. So tonight we talked about beards and masks. We talked about oils, or ingredients to use, ingredients to avoid if you have oily skin, how to know if your skin is truly oily. And I want to open up this room now for any questions and answers. So I have the chats open. I can see all the chats across all the platforms and all the networks. So you're more than welcome to ask any questions, and I'll keep this open for the next 2 to 3 minutes, and if there are no questions, we'll close out. I do want to speak on some topics while I'm waiting for questions about Gorilla Glue Girl. A lot of you all have noticed this and seen this on social media. A really wonderful lady in her early 40s, she would accidentally used, or some people will argue accidentally, she accidentally used Gorilla Glue thinking that it would be good for hair to slick down hair. She was trying to give herself a very slick down ponytail look. But what actually ended up happening is that there's a Gorilla Glue permanently bonded to her skin, to her scalp, and now her hair will not move. And I mean literally, it will not move. She has been stuck with the same hairstyle for the last month, and now hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people have begun to follow her journey through her trying to get this glue mess out of her hair. Even the representatives from Gorilla Glue have said there's really not a whole bunch you can do, and you can try things like alcohol, but as what many people have seen over the last 24 to 72 hours, this young lady has gone to the emergency room. She's documented a lot of this journey, and nothing is really seemingly to work. The alcohol is not working. She even tried to use, I think it's called acetate, which is a really strong acid. I may have that name wrong. Or acetone, that's what it is. Acetone to try to get the glue off. Shaving it is not working, because literally the hair is almost like one unit fused to her hair. And now the whole world is watching her journey as she's trying to get the stuff out of her hair. I don't necessarily want to speak on her using Gorilla Glue itself. Obviously, we all know, well, at least I think that we should know, that using adhesives that's meant for wood and plastics and metal is not a good alternative for your hair. But what I have heard is that she got the idea about using Gorilla Glue by another cosmetic product that has a similar name as Gorilla Glue. And I think she got them both confused and used it. And this is the dangers of watching YouTubes and using unvetted sources to make recommendations on how to style your hair and use on your skin and use on your beard. I want to say this, and I want to be really, really strong. I myself am a cosmetic formulator. I went to school and took classes to be a cosmetic formulator. People that are like YouTubers and internet gurus and bloggers, oftentimes these people are not experts. These are people who picked up tips and recipes and DIY stuff from other people and made it their own and sharing you their experiences. That doesn't necessarily mean that their advice is bad, but it also means that their information is usually a regurgitation of stuff that they learned other places. If you really want to truly know how to take care of your skin, your hair, and your beard, your most reliable sources will always be cosmetic chemists, cosmetic formulators, estheticians, and dermatologists. And mind you, I left out hairstylists and barbers because oftentimes hairstylists and barbers, they're trained on basic principles of hair chemistry and hair and keeping your hair and your skin right, but they're not always, the curriculum is not always totally in depth. They're gonna know a little bit. They're gonna know the basics. They even may go on to learn more advanced things, but they're not certified to be people who can diagnose or treat hair and skin problems. That's gonna be your estheticians. That's gonna be your dermatologists. And me as a skin formulator, a cosmetic formulator, I'll be able to share with you things on the sciencey side, but when it comes to diagnosing things, that's where you really need to see a dermatologist or estheticians. So I will tell you, if you're the type of person who is really, really gung-ho on using YouTube as a source of truth for finding new products and things to venture out, by all means, try it out. But also always filter those techniques through your estheticians, through your dermatologists, or ask people like me who are cosmetic formulators to really know if those ingredients and those techniques are doing good or bad things. When I was early in my beard journey, I really heavily depended on YouTube, and I've done some things to really mess up my skin. It's not any of the YouTubers' fault, but it's really a lack of knowledge for myself. So always vet what you're learning on these channels through your esthetician or dermatologist. And if you don't have access to those, one great thing to do is use Facebook groups. There's a lot of Facebook groups that are created by estheticians and dermatologists that you can ask those real hard sciencey questions and get real legitimate feedback. Also, Clubhouse. If you're familiar with Clubhouse on the app Clubhouse, they also have become really great sources to connect up with dermatologists and to ask those hard questions. When in doubt, stick with the basics. And when you want to go more advanced, reach out to your estheticians or people like myself, and we will definitely help you through. Another thing is, this is all experiment and exploratory. You're going to cycle through lots of different things, but the key thing is not to do anything that's way far out. If you find something on YouTube that looks suspect, 9 times out of 10, it is suspect. If you know people who have a lot of DIY recipes, be careful about just jumping all in and using it. A lot of times these people are just regurgitating what they heard other places. And another thing is, your skin is really unique. Every skin is not the same. You know, what one person responds to, you're not going to respond to. So like the instance with this Gorilla Glue girl, be careful, please be careful. Especially when it comes to beards, because there is so much bad information going on around here. So I'm going to take a quick peek and see if we have any questions, and it looks like we don't have any questions for tonight. So again, I'm sorry about the technical challenges tonight. I know this live stream was probably split into 2 different feeds, so I'm sorry about that. The internet went out in the building, and that's just kind of how this whole live stream goes. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me on smartbeard.com. You can email me at B as in boy, B at smartbeard.com. You can email me. And I will be sure to get your questions answered and maybe even create a video off of your question. So until next Tuesday, feel free to ask me anything, email me. If you're not a part of the Beard Grooming Lab on Facebook, search the Beard Grooming Lab on Facebook. It's our own private group where men can ask all their bearded questions and I provide scientific-based answers. Join that group. And until next week, I will see you in the group. Love you guys. Peace out. Have a great one. Stay safe and hit me up anytime.